My name is Randy Glisson. I'm a candidate for Florida House District 31. And as she said, I'm a chiropractic physician. I'm also the owner of Lake Healthcare Center, which is a multi-specialty healthcare clinic in Lake County that's been here for over 50 years. So I'm proud to be actively involved in the community. I'm a past member of the Florida Hospital Waterman Foundation. I'm a current member of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes Board of Lake County, which I have the honor to serve with Leslie on. So it's this has been quite an experience. In January of 2013, I first announced that I was going to seek the candidacy for House District 31. So since that time, life has been pretty much a whirlwind, and I certainly wouldn't change anything. It's been a great experience to get out more in the community and to meet the voters. I'm proud to bring you up to date a little bit on our campaign. I mean, I feel our campaign at this point has raised enough money to be able to move forward, to be able to get the message out that we're going to need to get out. And I feel good about finishing up the petitions. I hope I don't see another petition at least for a few years. And it's been fun actively getting involved with the voters on a day-to-day basis, walking in the community, and so I wouldn't change anything at this point. And part of my stump has been this, is that, my family came to Lake County in 1963. And, it was a simpler time. I mean, my dad came here with, he'll tell you the story, with $700 in a dream. And I was in the car, my mom was in the car, and he had just recently graduated from chiropractic school. And within 5 years, he had a new home. He had a successful business. He was active in the community, and he was newly elected to the Florida House of Representatives. So I say some of this saying that, I grew up in a home where I saw my dad care for his patients. I saw my dad care for his constituents, and I was blessed to have a mom that, had me in church and made sure my homework was, done and completed every night. And I was just sharing some of the memories of growing up in rural Lake County. So when it was time for me to choose and follow a direction, I went off to chiropractic school and returned home to practice alongside my father in 1986. And in 1993 is when the idea came together to kind of expand our healthcare business and to be able to provide more to the residents of Lake County that we've been so blessed by. And I have had the opportunity to serve on a few boards. I've had the opportunity, I heard the talk about, helping in the community. I'm a firm believer that the private sector is much better involved to help fill some of the holes where government fails us. And I think this attitude of relying on government all the time, to pick us up is something we need to get away from. And this is a proud community, and I'm proud to have been a part in helping fill a lot of holes, raise money, put in active hours of volunteerism, just like everybody in this room I know has done. And when I talked earlier in my stump about an earlier time, sometimes I wonder, a family coming into Lake County today, okay, that mom and dad that's coming to Lake County to open their new business. Some of the pitfalls and the difficulties that they would have in front of them. And I think one of the pitfalls, in my opinion, and a lot of the problems are the government intrusion that is coming into our lives on a daily basis. And I see more than ever how, the government has intruded into our health care, how the government has intruded into our education, and I truly see one of the roles of the state legislature is to continue to push back that intrusion. And because, the larger federal government's expansion into our lives is certainly not a good thing. People have asked me, well, Randy, what do you want to do? What is your message? Let me back up one step and say this. Why did I decide to run for the Florida State House of Representatives? In 2010, when I saw the Obamacare really begin to get a hold of physicians and businesses, is what motivated me. Being a physician, in Lake County, the majority of a lot of the residents are on Medicare. So as a physician, you accept Medicare. And but with accepting Medicare, you also are accepting a lot of this Obamacare that comes along with it. So on a daily basis, I'm struggling with it. So I see how it's affected the lives of my patients. I see how it's also affected the lives of our business community. So that's one of the main reasons that propelled me forward. I also have a 13-year-old son, and I'm gravely concerned about the future of our state, of our country, and I'm also equally concerned about where I see some of the moral fiber going to in our country. Randy Glisson is going to be about creating jobs. I think that by providing jobs, by providing jobs that pay well, I think that is one of the main things that can begin to empower families. I think that by, again, jobs will bring an end to a lot of our difficulties. So I think we need to continue to push, like Governor Scott has, on continuing to be a business-friendly state. There's an interesting fact that I came across. 90% of the businesses in Lake County are 90% of the businesses are made up of small businesses with 12 or fewer employees. So, in my eyes, those small businesses are the job creators out there. I think sometimes we look so much to giving big business a break, and bringing big business to the state, which I'm all for, but I think we also need to be look at concentrating on those small businesses and how we can help those small businesses succeed. And by saying help, I mean we need to cut regulation, we need to cut taxes, and yes, that's a real general term to say that. But as a small business owner that makes a payroll for 19 families every single week, I can tell you that these regulations and these taxes strangulate and prevent small businesses from creating more jobs. I like some of the tax reform I saw in the legislature this year was dealing with commercial leases. 90% of small businesses are small businesses, but I would say a majority of them also probably have commercial leases. I say anytime you can save a small business owner a tax and put more money in his pocket, I think you have a better chance of creating jobs. Another big thing that the state of Florida will have in front of us is health care. And as you know, we have pushed back and not accepted the expansion with the Medicaid, and I believe in that decision. I believe now, though, that we need to sit down and we need to bring in the business community, we need to bring in physicians, we need to bring in insurance companies, we need to bring everybody to the table, and we need to figure out how we're going to take care and help provide for some of those that can't provide for themselves. Listen, I'm compassionate, and I want to help people that need to be helped, okay? But I don't want to chronically entitle people till they get to the point where they lose that enthusiasm for the American dream. You know, and that enthusiasm that I spoke of earlier, the enthusiasm that I came when I came out of college. And so I think we need to, certainly healthcare is going to be a big issue. And so we need to sit down and figure out how do we pay for this. You know, sometimes what we're doing, we're paying for the healthcare on the back end. Okay, we're paying for the healthcare after they've been to the emergency room, and you know, and we're getting it that way. I think we have to look at how do we begin to address it, and you know, one of the main things, getting back to jobs. I mean, the more jobs you create, the more insurance that is provided. So I was also looking recently. I know. Some of it was in the paper about some of what they said, some of the turkey projects that got labeled, and some of them that made it back to Lake County, and didn't go under the governor's veto pen. And I like the idea of the Lake Sumter, the Health Sciences Building. I think that's another direction we're going to have to look with STEM jobs, and looking at providing more education to our students so that we can compete in a global economy like we need to. And I tell you, the other issue of the Baker Act, being able to provide some money for that, I think was also, I mean, I think it was a good thing that, you know, I think more than ever now we need to begin to address some of the mental illness issues, and just not simply you know, letting immediately some of these people that are going through some hard times back down in a situation where it can be unsafe for our public. So you know, I really look forward to this opportunity that we're going to have over the next 2.5 months. And, you know, Lake County, in Orange County and District 31, we are going to be able to have some opportunities to really make some decisions on who we want to be in this position. So, as we move forward, I want to be getting out, trying to get my message out, and saying that, you know, I want to create jobs. I want to continue to push back federal government intrusion into our lives. And, you know, serving on the Fellowship of Christian Athletes and seeing how Christ also has been pushed out of our schools, and how Christ has also been pushed out of our government. Okay, you know, we need to get back to, you know, what this country was founded on, and it was founded on God. It was founded on, you know, godly principles, and you know, some of the problems that we're having. I don't know that you can throw enough money or enough legislation at it to correct the problem. At the end of the day, we need to have empowered families that are raising their children, that are caring for their children, that are showing, taking personal responsibilities for themselves. And until we can get back to that, then I think we're always going to be fighting an uphill battle. In some of these questionnaires you get asked as you're going through this process, what would you do if you were governor for a day? What would you, all these questions you get asked. And one of my answers was, the National Prayer Day that we have, and thank you, Patricia, for extending my first invitation to that a few years ago. And what a great opportunity we have across this nation, across the state, and this particularly in Lake County, to get together and just to be able to try to get back to what principles this country was founded on. So, sometimes it's simple. Well, what would you do if you were governor for the day? Well, you know what? I would go out and try to, I would go out and promote National Prayer Day, because again, if we don't get back to the beginning, I think we'll always be in an uphill battle. So as we continue to move forward, I'll be updating my website with some of the more issues that'll be concerning to me. I'm on Facebook, and so there's plenty of opportunity you'll have to be able to take a look at all of us. So with that, I appreciate the opportunity to be here today. And as a small business owner, my life has been going in to the office every day, and what I've seen is the compliance and the regulatory manual has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. And my services and products of what I need to concentrate on every day, this has been taking my mind away from this. What we need to do is we need to make this smaller so that people can go into their jobs every day and concentrate on creating, selling their business, selling their product, and concentrate on creating more jobs. So with that, I had to say that last little bit, and I'll open it up. If you have any questions of me, I'll certainly try to answer them. Oh, I didn't see that. Anybody else in the room?
I got to say anyone other than Dan.
In your talks and visits around the county, what local legislative issues or priorities have you noticed that you think you want to help implement or change?
Okay. I think people are really, really concerned about schools. They're concerned about the Common Core, and a lot of the issues that have followed with that. They're concerned about school safety. So I would certainly would want to work with the local school board in seeing how we can, regain local control of our schools, but yet have our children tested appropriately, and with the common goal of creating, a brighter student that's going to be able to go out there and be competitive in this new global environment. I tell you, I think water issues is going to also be certainly on the horizon. I like the idea of property owners' rights, of seeing how we can more so keep people feeling protected, so that the state government's not legislating certain things that you may have to do. So. Yes.
How do you feel about drill, baby, drill off the coast of Florida?
Well, I think that as as a country that we have to be more self-sustaining. And I think that if we can proceed with it being, ultimately protecting our coastline, protecting our natural resource of our coastline, then I think we have to take advantage of the resources that we have at our disposal. Yes?
I was born in Texas, and the oil patties never bothered us. Look at me, I'm still a very healthy person. I was raised on the Gulf of Mexico.
All 40 years of your life.
Yes.
It's my understanding the three biggest expenditures the state has is the corrections, education, and Medicaid. If you take those three, granted not to ignore the rest of the expenditures, we talk about taxes, spending people's money. Those three, how do you approach if you're going to talk about taxes or reducing taxes, which means spending less money in government? How do you address any one of those? If you pick one, how would you improve or do something that has the same outcome or maybe doesn't have the same outcome? Which one would you tackle and how would you? Those correction, education, or Medicaid on the expense side?
Right. Well, first of all, I think that if we can produce more revenue by creating more jobs without raising taxes to try to throw money at some of the problems you're speaking of, I think that's the way I would go about doing it. I mean, I'm also excited about private-public ventures, of getting the private sector more involved. I know there's some things going on within the prison system. The last year, I mean, some of these repeat offenders for drug offenses, okay, bringing in a private entity and allowing maybe the last year of them being in prison to try to get at the root of why these people continue to doing what they're doing and just being a revolving door for our prisons. I mean, the recidivism rate of our prisons is just out of control, and a lot of it is based on, I think, people being dependent on drugs. And I'm all for, if you do the crime, you're going to do the time. But I'm also for looking at new ways of how are we going to keep maybe some of these people out of prison because they've chosen to follow a better way of life. They've chosen to get a job. They've chosen not to do the wrong thing. So that would be main thing: create jobs, grow revenue. Second, it would be to continue to look more so to the private sector to help fund and solve some of the problems we're having in education and with corrections. I mean, education, you have, looking at charter schools, educational funding issues with following students, so that maybe we're taking away from all the money that's been being spent on public education.
Any other questions? No?
Okay, well, thank you so much. We're looking forward to seeing you.